pleasant day to all of you out there watching Agenda. Welcome to the program. You are watching us via Signal TV, channels 8 and 250 for high definition, as well as on facebook.com/OneNewsPH. And you can search us on YouTube. Just click in One News PH. I'm your host, Cito Beltran. Please join us today as we tackle a very important matter, a very important subject, which is all about health insurance, particularly with the government health insurance program or Philhealth. Now, before you guys go, Philhealth lang? Oh, that's not so interesting, not so exciting. Please listen in and please be patient today, because we're not going to talk about the problems with Philhealth, the politics with Philhealth. We are going to deal with Philhealth topic in relation to insurance, because many of you have complained about private insurance companies, have complained about HMOs, about companies not being able to afford health management options, or it's actually health management organization services, or HMO. And today, that's exactly what we want to bring up in the discussion, because we'll be throwing some ideas, suggestions, and questions to our guests for today. And we have quite a few. We have quite a lot of, not few, but a lot of guests. We actually have 4. Tentatively, we will have Senator Win Gatchalian and Congresswoman Angelina Helen Tan, Chairperson of the House Committee on Health. And after that, we will bring in former Senator J.V. Ejercito, who was a prime mover of the universal health care law. And last but not the least, Rey Baleña, Philhealth Spokesperson. Tatalakayin po natin, outside of contributions and increasing membership contributions, ano pa ba ang posible? Where can the government get money or raise money so that we can have better insurance, and can there be a compromise? Is it possible for the PhilHealth to evolve? Baguhin yung PhilHealth so hindi lang sila dole-out organization, kung hindi actually competitive HMO and insurer. Kasi may mga nagsasabi po, babayad naman kami ng mas mataas, payag kaming magbayad ng mas malaki, or payag kaming mag-enroll ng aming kumpanya sa PhilHealth kung meron silang additional programs and services, which I personally have suggested to different PhilHealth officials in different administration. And in fact, one of my former students in the Development Academy of the Philippines, where I used to teach communications and public management, one of my students said, "Sir, actually may ginawa na kami." Ano yung ginawa nyo? Sir, yung PhilHealth Plus. It is, you are a member of PhilHealth, but you can also be a PhilHealth Plus customer enrolling on a different program. So we'll discuss that with our guests, but in the meantime, let's go to the front page of the Philippine Star. Hong Kong finds COVID variant in a passenger who came from the Philippines. However, Philippine Airlines said the passenger posted a negative COVID test result, while the Philippine Genome Center reports that the new variant is not yet found in the country. Ang pinagtatalunan po ay saan kaya nakuha nitong pasahero na ito. Number one, is the passenger or the so-called passenger identified in Hong Kong or pinpointed in Hong Kong Filipino or not? Number two, did that passenger actually get it in the Philippines? Was it a delayed onset COVID variant case? Or baka naman nakuha niya dun sa Hong Kong nung nasa Hong Kong na siya, kasi meron daw pong time lag. Okay. In connection to that, the Intra-Agency Task Force has created a technical working group that will focus on monitoring this new variant. Meanwhile, AstraZeneca has applied for an emergency use authorization to supply its COVID-19 vaccine to the country. Now, yun po, that makes AstraZeneca officially the second company to apply for an emergency use authorization. Wala pa pong iba. Okay. In other news, 3 suspects in the Dacera case have been released as prosecutors deemed the evidence provided by the police to be lacking. Kumbaga, sabi nila, return for further investigation. I am currently writing a column in the Philippine Star which I have titled, Return for Better Investigation. Ayan po, sa pagmamadali, haste makes waste, and they have now wasted that initial action of filing a case against these 3 people that was dismissed. Nako po, ayan na, sabit-sabit na yung kaso na yan. Okay, President Rodrigo says he is, Rodrigo Duterte naman. President Rodrigo Duterte says he is looking to recruit House Majority Leader Martin Romualdez as the administration's vice presidential bet for 2022. Okay, ang tanong, sino ang presidential bet ninyo? Nako po, ayan ang mga pagkakaguluhan in the coming months. And a hacker uses Senator Gatchalian's credit card to buy food worth 1 million pesos. Mukhang maling Gatchalian ang na-hack nitong hacker na ito. Kasi alam ko, 2 lang posibleng Gatchalian ang pag-iinitan dyan. Yung bang Congressman Gatchalian who is passing a law for e-commerce, or yung Gatchalian's lechon. Speaking of the Gatchalians, let's now go to our first set of guests. None other than our favorite and regular on agenda, Senator Gatchalian, co-author of the bill seeking to suspend the PhilHealth premium hike, and Representative Angelina Helen Tan. Senator Gatchalian, kamusta na ba yung iyong credit card? Ginupit mo na ba?
Good morning, Cito. Good morning, Helen, my party mate. Ganang umaga sa inyong dalawa. Happy New Year! At pero nakakagulat itong New Year natin dahil first week pa lang namin sa trabaho, na-scam na tayo. In fact, as the information comes in, Cito, hindi pala hacking ang nangyari, scamming.
Okay.
Kasi naloko nitong scammer ang lahat para makuha yung aking cellphone number, at dahil nakuha niya yung cellphone number ko, hindi ko na makuha yung OTP, yung one-time password. Nung nakuha niya na yung one-time password, nag-order siya sa Foodpanda. Pero Cito, hindi pala matakaw itong scammer na ito. Manginginom pala ito dahil ang in-order niya, 1 million worth of high-end alcohol. Yun ang in-order niya. So itong mga information, lately lang pumasok, kaya natagpi-tagpi natin itong mga pangyayari.
Okay, in any case, I'm just trying to lighten the introduction, but I know that the Lord works in mysterious ways, but He also allows things to happen to us para tayo yung makakagalaw. Ako, nagka-problema ako sa ASF, nasara yung aking piggery, patay lahat ng baboy, but I discovered so much about ASF. Now, let's go to Congresswoman Helen Tan. Congresswoman, it's a pleasure to finally see you on the program. Ang taon na akong nag-aabang sa'yo, lagi kang busy. Congresswoman, Happy New Year!
Happy New Year, Sir Cito. Sorry po, I know ang dami niyo pong invitation sa akin. Hindi ko nag-grant. But finally, nagko-conflict lang, sir. Hi,
Yeah.
Senator Sherwin. Happy New Year po.
Okay, the reason I asked the team to focus on PhilHealth today, kasi napansin ko lang, everybody's reacting to the provision of 1122.3 na nagsasabing kailangan taasan yung membership dues or contributions. But no one has really discussed the possibility of other options. Although some members of Congress have said, wala na bang ibang paraan? And I personally, I don't know if you got the chance to read my column yesterday, I've said that time and again to my students from PhilHealth, pwede naman kayong mag-HMO, pwede naman kayong maging insurer kasi maraming tao would rather deal with the Republic of the Philippines than private insurers na nanghaharang. Now, I understand, Congresswoman Tan, di ba doktora kayo?
Yes, sir. And I'm a principal author po ng UHC in Congress, last Congress, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Now, may I ask you that question? Isn't it possible for us to find other options? And then after this, Senator Win, free for all na tayo, no? Isn't it possible for Congress to evolve PhilHealth from just someone giving out money and insuring people to an organization that can actually give insurance and HMO?
First and foremost, Sir Cito, kasi ang konsepto ng PhilHealth is social insurance, no? Which means talaga subsidize po the poor and those who are able to pay should pay. So, ang tingin ko po, ang PhilHealth, ang malaking problema talaga is that the system and process inside, no? Ang UHC itself is a good law, no? Ang naging problem lang natin dito sa contribution, which I think has been an issue since time immemorial, siguro yung increase is stipulated kasi talaga doon na up to 5% ang ina-allow sa PhilHealth to increase. But I think yung increase ngayon, sir, may other options on payment. Like kung ngayon po meron tayong floor and ceiling, katulad ng proposal ni Congressman Salceda, pwede po tayo maglagay ng fixed na minimum contribution for direct contributors plus parang ang konsepto niya yung sa income tax, individual income tax bracket. So certain percentage of your due individual income tax plus 100 pesos na minimum monthly payment. And nag-fix payment lang siya ng amount for OFWs. Siguro yung inequality lang po siguro doon sa pagbabayad kasi ang complaint ng nakakarami ay yung middle income earners natin, especially yung ating mga manggagawa sa gobyerno at sa pribado, sila yung nag-carry ng burden ng contribution. So siguro kung mag-evolve doon sa contribution, yes, pwede po natin pag-aralan. May mga other options. Ang kailangan lang po siguro tingnan dahil yung UHC ay kalusugang pangkalahatan, yung pondo na kinakailangan kung kaya ba ng gobyerno at papaano naman ang pribado mag-contribute. Siguro yun ang pinakamahalaga po na strategy na makita natin.
Yeah. Senator, what's your reaction to this? Kasi marami na ako nakausap ng mga CEO, nagsasabi, Sito, kung private HMO, hindi namin kaya, we're not big enough. Pero kung makakagawa ng HMO bracket ang PhilHealth, kakayanin namin. Kasi like one guy I know, he just simply put 2 million in the bank and that's where they're drawing for medical expenses of employees. But he said, once the money runs out, I have to look for money elsewhere. If I can just put that in PhilHealth, okay na yun. And then I know PhilHealth came up with a study, PhilHealth Plus, pero parang walang nangyari. Senator.
Sito, it's good na kasama natin si Congresswoman Helen at later si Senator JV dahil sila talaga ang primary authors and primary movers nitong Universal Healthcare Law. But my take on this, Sito, is i-oversimplify ko yung konsepto ng Universal Healthcare. Ang konsepto nito ay lahat ng tao mabibigyan ng health insurance. Para kung nagkasakit ka, lalo na yung pinakamahirap nating mga kababayan, meron silang pangbayad kung pupunta sila sa hospital. Dahil dito sa konsepto na ito, dapat pondohan. Pero dahil dalawang sources itong pagpondo. Unang-una, galing sa gobyerno. Pangalawa, galing doon sa mga nagbabayad ng premiums. At dito na ngayon sinabi ni Congresswoman Helen na ang mga nagbabayad ng premiums ito are normally mga working class and middle class. No? Dahil may mandatory contribution sila. Yung mga mayayaman, di naman nag-PhilHealth yan eh. To be honest about it, may sarili silang mga HMO. Kung meron man, hindi nila nagagamit masyado. So it's
they have employees, Senator.
Correct.
They have
yung
companies.
Sila, yung working class, yun ang nagbabayad. Pero sinasubsidize itong working class, yung mga informal sector, yung mga hindi nagtatrabaho, na pag nagkasakit, malaki rin yung expenses nila. So may imbalance talaga. Kaya pumapasok dito yung gobyerno para sagutin itong imbalance na ito. Ngayon, the point here kasi Sito is timing, no? Because of the pandemic. In fact, Helen can join in. Nung pinag-uusapan itong PhilHealth, itong universal healthcare, hindi naman natin nako-contemplate itong pandemic eh. Nung pumasok itong pandemic, dito na nagkaroon tayo ng issue kung susundin ba yung mga increases sa loob ng batas. At ang aking position dito, dahil nga itong pandemic ay napakalawak, dapat pumasok dito yung gobyerno para hindi naman ma-burden yung middle class at working class sa pagsasagot ng premiums ng ating mga mahihirap na kababayan.
Okay, there's no question about that, Senator. But and Congresswoman Helen, no, the question is parang expanding our options because in the government has already competed in the area of education. Dahil tinaasan natin ang sweldo ng mga teachers, maraming pumuntang private teachers sa public schools, gumanda ang ating quality of teaching. In terms of medical help, yung mga nurses from private napunta na sa public. So, nagiging very competitive ang government and thereby improving the services in those two areas. And I was just thinking, we could do the same in insurance and give the private insurance companies in this country a run for their money because ang tagal ng complaint nito, wala lang pumapatol na nagkakaungguyan dito sa mga insurance. Congresswoman Helen.
Yes, sir. Actually, napag-usapan po namin yan while crafting UHC because of the question on management ng fund ng PhilHealth.
Yeah.
Ang tagal na po na problema and we're crafting during that time itong UHC na ang laki ng ibinibigay nating responsibility being the single payer, no, dito sa health insurance natin. So lumabas po yan na baka pwedeng i-develop siya na like the HMO that you were talking earlier. But yun nga po, ako ang pagtingin ko because in the HMO concept po kasi hindi naman siya social insurance. So kung nagbayad ka ng malaki, malaki din ang iyong makukuha na services. So, paano naman po yung mga mahirap na flat lang, fixed lang ang rate na ibinibigay natin? Ibig sabihin ba ang ibibigay sa kanilang quality of services or kind of services ay mababa? So, parang nawala po yung konsepto ng pagkakapantay-pantay pagdating sa benepisyo ng pangkalusugan ng lahat ng Pilipino. That's the reason why, sir, hindi na-entertain, no? Kasi from the Medicare time pa, yan po yung ating konsepto. Kasi nga, hindi naman tayo mayaman na bansa na kaya natin na ibigay
But
sa lahat.
Congresswoman, is that really being realistic, Senator Win? Kasi parang hindi naman natin minamaliit yung mga mahirap. The coverage will remain, they will still be taken care of, but those who want more and are willing to pay more, parang ang sa akin lang, parang there is a market there. And this is not Cito Beltran speaking, ano po? I talk to a lot of people on a daily basis and sila nagsasabi, dapat pasukin na ng PhilHealth yan kasi maraming unhappy sa insurance industry dito sa Pilipinas. And at the same time, makakatulong sa gobyerno yung added funds na yon. It's like banks, the banks get all the money, they invest all of the money in other things, and we get, 1%. Pero no one is challenging that. No one is challenging the insurance, and yet here we are saying, freeze the ball, wag tayo mag-increase. Senator Win. So, sorry, Senator Win, I just feel passionate about this.
Sito, in concept ng social insurance, yung sinabi ni Congresswoman Helen, whether we like it or not, no? Pag sinabi mong social insurance, papasok talaga ang gobyerno dyan through subsidy. Because malaki yung population natin na nangangailangan ng healthcare na hindi kaya soluhin ng private sector. So, gobyerno talaga papasok dyan. Whether we like it or not, gobyerno talaga magbibigay ng subsidy. Ngayon, yung pagbibigay ng health insurance, pwede natin yan ipasa sa pribadong sektor for better management. Ganyan yung nangyari sa states, from government minove nila to the private sector. So government will still shell out the subsidy, pero sino ba yung magbibigay ng pera doon sa ating constituent? Pwede na yan PhilHealth, pwede na rin yan private sector. Dito sa ating, ang model natin ay PhilHealth, no? From private all the way to the informal sector, PhilHealth ang nagbibigay. Pero pwede rin natin pag-aralan na private sector yan, no? Although ibang model yan. Sa ibang bansa, iba-ibang model, no? Depende na yan kung sino ang mas efficient. Pero para kung akong tatanungin, meron ring magandang positive kung ibibigay natin ito sa private sector. Dahil ang private sector can do it much better. Proven na yan, no? And may mga issues pa rin of corruption sa loob ng PhilHealth. Itong past few months, narinig natin yung issues of corruption. At ito rin ang nagiging isang malaking, kumbaga, dagok sa universal healthcare. Dahil kinakaltasan mo na kami, pero naririnig namin may mga corruption na nangyayari. Kaya masakit rin, no, doon sa mga nagbabayad ng health premium. So in other words, in a nutshell, papasok pa rin ng government for the subsidy, pero yung pagbibigay ng healthcare, pwedeng pag-aralan yan na itulak sa private sector dahil meron din silang ganong capability.
Okay, do both of you do both of you believe that we have the government, and this is not politics, no, government and those in PhilHealth, do they have the competence to manage such a big responsibility and such a big job? Kasi parang lahat ng Pilipino sakop mo, para kang presidente ng Pilipinas. Lahat ng may sakit, problema mo. At lahat ng perang kailangan nila, problema mo. Is the PhilHealth in its current state capable of doing the job? Or should we, as a Congresswoman Stella Kimbo suggested on this program, na maybe we should chop it up and, give certain aspects to the private sector or to professional management? Kasi parang yun yung nagiging issue, yung quality of management and integrity of managing the funds.
Sir Cito, for me, actually, I agree with Senator Sherwin's thought on the participation of private sector or private insurance, no, and management of fund. Dahil nakita na po natin na medyo may inefficiencies and ang daming issues ng PhilHealth on misappropriation ng fund, baka kinakailangan po talaga na mag-step in doon ang private sector. Aside from the management of fund kasi, marami pa po na pinanggagalingan ng problema ng PhilHealth. Like for example, yung pinag-uugatan po ng corruption is yung filing of claims, no? So may mga functions ang PhilHealth na supposed to be hindi sa kanya lahat na pupunta. Pwedeng mag-create ng another body, yung quasi-judicial power nila, pwedeng another body. So hindi lang po, it does not boil down doon sa management lang ng fund but the whole system within PhilHealth talaga and different functions dapat din talaga pag-aralan, tingnan kung dapat ba nasa kanya pa yon para ma-address natin yung issues ng inefficiencies and corruption.
Senator Win, I know you have another engagement, so I'll give you a chance to respond to this question first before we let you go. How does all of this impact the universal healthcare law? Because the law presumes that we're going to need more money as we enter 2021, 2022. But then we didn't think of having a pandemic back then. No one knew this. How do you think it will affect? Kasi sinasabi natin ngayon, freeze the ball. Tuloy-tuloy naman ang bayad ng PhilHealth. Hindi na nga raw nakakabayad sa Red Cross, sabi ni Senator Dick Gordon.
Sito, dahil sa laki, no, at sa lawak ng PhilHealth, dito pumapasok yung konsepto na it's too big to fail. So, ibig sabihin hindi pa mabayaan ng gobyerno na mag-bankrupt ang PhilHealth dahil maraming madadamay dito. At kaya may provision rin sa universal healthcare, even in the PhilHealth Charter, na ang gobyerno pwede pumasok kung kakailanganin. At maraming beses na ginawa to. In fact, ginagawa to ng gobyerno almost every year. So, in other words, ang government, ang gobyerno ho natin pwedeng pumasok diyan para siguraduhin na tuloy-tuloy pa rin ang operation ng PhilHealth, at least in the short and medium term. Pero dapat rin tignan yung ibang modelo. Ito yung pagbibigay nga ng ibang parte o ibang operations to the private sector na mas eficiente, mas mura, at higit sa lahat walang corruption. No? So meron siyang long term. Actually, hindi para sa akin yung issue of pagbibigay ng subsidy, hindi issue yan dahil trabaho talaga ng gobyerno pagbigay ng subsidy. Ang malaking issue dito yung efficiency and also corruption. At yun ang masakit sa taong bayan eh. Dahil kung may naririnig nga silang corruption na nangyari, o may naririnig tayo na hindi nababayaran yung hospital o hindi nabibigyan ng serbisyo yung ating constituents dahil palpak yung kanilang card o palpak yung sistema, dito yung mas masakit. So, moving forward, dapat pag-aralan ng seryoso yung pagbibigay ng ilang bahagi ng PhilHealth, no? Especially yung pagbibigay ng tulong sa private sector, which I think, no, and nakinarinig ko kanina si Congresswoman Helen, na ang private sector mas episyente pagdating doon.
Okay, well, with that, I will thank you, Senator Win, for joining us this morning, and I will release you to your other commitments. Thank you very much for joining us, and kami naman ngayon ni Congresswoman Helen. Okay, thank you, Senator Win Gatchalian. And okay, Kong Helen, paano na ang gagawin natin yan? Because you know there are people who are saying na okay, freeze the ball. Pero saan tayo kukuha ng pera for PhilHealth because many companies have closed down. And so Senator Win was saying, whether we like it or not, the government will simply have to step up and cough out the money. Ano ang pangamba ninyo as far as UHC is concerned?
Sir, actually nakakalungkot dahil yung first year ng implementation supposed to be of UHC ay pinasok tayo ng pandemya. So basically, hindi pa talaga tayo nag-roll out ng UHC, no, ng Universal Healthcare. At nalulungkot tayo kasi napakaganda sana nung batas, no, para sa serbisyong pangkalusugan. Subalit kumaharap doon sa challenges na yan. So yes po, tama po kayo. Ang problem talaga natin is the funding requirement. Alam naman natin na kung mataas ang pangarap natin para doon sa kalidad na serbisyong pangkalusugan at mas malawak, and that every Filipino ay makakatanggap, no, at the time of their need ng health services. Tapos yung fund na sa projection ng PhilHealth ay hindi natin ma-achieve kasi number one, yung projection nila nung kina-craft ito, that's the reason why bakit may staggered increase every year, ay i-moratorium tayo, no, so walang increase. So government has to step in. Pero kaya ba talaga ng gobyerno?
Yeah.
At up to what extent po ba talaga kakayanin ng PhilHealth at this time? Kasi as far as I know, ang dami na pong hospitals na nagsasarado, small hospitals, because hindi sila nakakakuha ng payment from PhilHealth. At may mga dahilan din siguro ang PhilHealth. So, malalim na kailangan pag-uusap kami sa Kongreso, sir, aside from dun sa premium contributions, hindi pag-moratorium lang, but ano ang mga hakbang na dapat gawin para hindi naman ma-compromise yung services natin. Ma-ensure natin that every Filipino will still receive the necessary healthcare services at the time of their need. Kasi nakastipulate po yun sa UHC law. Whether nakabayad ka o hindi, especially ngayon, may pandemic, may displaced workers tayo, unemployed sila at hindi nababayadan ang contribution. At the time of their need na kailangang gamitin ang PhilHealth, hindi pwedeng sabihin ng isang facility na hindi ka po pwedeng gumamit ng PhilHealth dahil di ka nakabayad kasi that's against the law, the UHC law. Kailangan pa rin ibigay. Pero ang problema, cycle po yan, o so binigay yung services, pero may babayad ba ang PhilHealth doon sa facility na nagbigay ng services, na-render na yung services. So ano, ang impact naman nandoon sa health facilities. So ngayon, nakikita na natin may mga facilities po na nagsasarado. So somehow it will affect the UHC kasi hindi kaya ng government health facilities lamang yung pagbibigay ng serbisyo. We need the private health facilities kasi 60% private po tayo, 40% government. So, parang ang dami pong problema na dapat
Yeah,
talagang tingnan.
clearly, but ang concern kasi ng marami, Congresswoman, and my person, ako naman, I'm a senior citizen, so parang I don't even have to worry about that. I get the services, but up to when can I get the services, as you pointed out? Because if the facilities that we go to shut down, yung mga for dialysis, yung mga testing centers, etc., even the Red Cross is already saying we cannot keep up our services if PhilHealth cannot even remit the money they owe us. Now, what are the possibilities? Ano ho ang posibilidad na umabot tayo sa punto na ay suspend na rin pati yung universal healthcare law kasi makakabalik ka pa ba dun sa sinaunang panahon natin? Kasi walang pera. Sabi naman ni Senator Win, hindi pwede. Kailangan maglabas ng pera ang gobyerno pero apparently they're also trying to find money for the COVID vaccine.
Tama, sir. So, ang dami pong issues on the implementation of PhilHealth. And ito nga, ang number one, yung premium contribution increase at nakakalungkot. So definitely, kung wala po tayong enough funding na maibibigay dito sa implementation, yung sinasabi niyo pong babalik pa tayo sa nung unang panahon, baka mangyari kung hindi po sasagutin ng gobyerno, no? So, ngayon pa lamang po, kailangan pag-isipan na natin, no? Kasi, like for example, sir, sa UHC kasi tinanggal na natin yung pag-subsidize ng local government unit. Instead na nag-shell out pa ang fund for membership ang LGU national government na ang subsidize. Kung hindi talaga kakayanin po ng national government, baka meron din po ang local government unit na especially ngayon with Bandanas Law po, no? Kailangan doon sa improvement of services, kailangan siguro ang local government natin ay umaksyon, no? Hindi iasa po sa national government lang. And then, kung mawala ng trust and confidence na ang ating mga mamamayan, doon sa PhilHealth, ang option nga nung iba, kumuha na lang daw sila. But ang problema kung employed ka, mandatory, di ba sir, ang ating contribution. So siguro yung mga self-employed ay baka ganyan ang isipin. So ang nakikita natin, parang yung intention po ng UHC in the long run, hindi na po natin maa-achieve. Mawawala na basically yung UHC. Yun yung ikinakalungkot po natin.
Which is not impossible because even in America, 'di ba, meron silang Medicare, Medicaid, Obamacare, and time and again, kumbaga may lalabas, mawawala, etc. So it is possible in the Philippines that if the government is unable to sustain the funding of the UHC, we will revert doon sa mga okay for members only, for paying members na muna, and yung iba saluhin na lang ng mga LGU or ng mga special agencies katulad ng kami mga senior citizen, siguro yung Bureau for the Senior Citizens Affairs or something. Ganun po mangyari, Congresswoman.
Honestly speaking, sir, yes, no? Kung talagang hindi kakayanan, sobrang dami po ng problems natin. Like you mentioned earlier, government has to find budget for vaccines, no? So additional requirement na naman yon. And kung supposed to be ilalagay na natin yan sa PhilHealth for UHC implementation, so na-compromise na po yung ating pag-roll out ng batas. Yun yung ikinakatakot po natin. Me as a principal author of UHC, ang dami kong apprehensions. Actually, nalulungkot po ako kasi parang ang taas ng pangarap ng UHC. Pero in the initial year, ay very challenging siya. But may mga ways po siguro na pwedeng maiwasan natin. Like, yung PhilHealth po talaga kailangan mag-recalibrate po talaga, mag-reorg po within, no? Kasi kahit na gumawa tayo ng maraming batas pa or strategies on how to address, pero kung hindi po nagagawa ng paraan doon sa loob ng PhilHealth ang mga sistema at proseso, mga taong nandun, yung mga allegations of corruption ay hindi natin na-prove, no?
Yeah.
So, parang walang kwenta po lahat ng actions na gagawin natin.
Kasi parang nakikita ko, Congresswoman Helen, parang bagang ang puntirya natin, we're all focusing on the corruption, on the
Yes.
inefficiency, but no one is talking about, hey guys, we need to raise funds, we need to market services, etc. Kasi alam mo, ewan ko kung kayo po ba, saan pa kayo nag-college? Kasi ako sa UP, inabot ko yung panahon na yung social education, socialized education. Yung mga may kaya, mas mataas ang binabayaran kaysa sa kaming mga hindi masyadong may kaya or para dun sa mga walang kaya talaga, no? May iba-iba ang category ng bayaran. And that's why I was suggesting itong kung may gustong magpa-insure na lang sa medical insurance sa PhilHealth na may premium, yung sabi nga nilang PhilHealth Plus o kaya
Yes.
HMO, mas maganda sana yun. Kayo, what about you, Congresswoman? Given that you're a principal author of the law, I'm sure you don't want this law to die a natural death, so to speak. What are you to what extent are you going to go to make sure that the universal health care law stays in track and is faithful to to your ideals?
Sir, as chairperson of the Committee on Health, ngayon ang mainit na pinag-uusapan ay yung premium increase. So, we'll act on that, no? Dahil nagsalita naman ang Pangulo na okay siya na magkaroon ng delays sa increase ng premium. Pero may mga other proposal kasi, sir, doon sa Kongreso na gusto nating tingnan, no, na baka po pwedeng i-tackle natin. Pero yun again nga, babalik ako, sir, doon sa na-mention ko kanina. Kung mag-focus lang tayo doon sa mga issues like OFW's contribution or contributions as a whole, hindi po yun sasagot sa lahat ng problema natin. So, ang kailangan talaga natin tingnan ay yung PhilHealth, no? At this time, kung papaano natin maisasaayos. Ako ang tingin ko, yung functions, like meron po kami ni Kong Joet Garcia proposal ng magkaroon po tayo ng health insurance review assessment, just like what the Koreans have. Yung separate body po ang nagre-review ng mga claims, no? Doon. And then pag na-review niya, ibabalik niya sa PhilHealth for payment. Yung isa pong issue na pinanggagalingan po ng corruption is the quasi-judicial power of PhilHealth. Kasi yung halimbawa po, may nag-file ng complaint, fraudulent, isang facilities within the region, i-elevate nila sa central office. So, gusto namin tingnan yung quasi-judicial power ba kailangang ibigay sa kanya or another body na lang ang bigyan natin ng that function. Another one is to improve talaga, sir, yung IT system, the controversial one. Nakakalungkot kasi naging controversial because of the allegedly yung overpricing of the IT equipments, but currently yan po yung isa sa kinakailangan na magawa. And then siguro po yung reorganization talaga within PhilHealth. Kung may amendment kami. Ako po, sir, sa proposal ko talaga originally sa UHC version po ng House, na very, po ako doon, very specific na magkaroon po talaga na reorganization. So, magkaroon po ng optional na retirement ang ating mga employees doon. And then,
kasama po ba doon sa Congresswoman Helen yung provision na wala ng political appointees, strictly professionals? Kasi parang, I'm just going to call it the way it is. Kasi we cannot keep putting political appointees in sensitive government offices such as PhilHealth. tanga, hindi naman marunong mag-math o mag-arithmetic katulad ko, pagkatapos ilalagay mo dyan sa financial institution, parang sa loob-loob ko, I think we need to put a stop to it already.
Nakakatuwa, sir. Pareho tayo ng thought dyan, no? Yung
Mm.
kinakraft namin po yung UHC, yan po yung isa kong nani-raise doon sa house. Pwede ba na, para maiwasan po yung, like for example, pagtatalaga po ng board of directors ng PhilHealth, presidential appointee po kasi yan. So dahil sinabi nila na yung power ng president na maglagay pa rin because ang bulk of, it's a social insurance, government pa rin yung nagbibigay ng malaking pondo, kailangan meron pa rin siya na power, no? So, naglagay po kami ng safeguard doon, sir, kung maglalagay ng mga presidential appointees, like yung qualifications po, knowledge siya sa health economy, health insurance talaga, may experience, management, and has to undergo trainings, no, before sila mag-assume ng
Okay.
post. But unfortunately, siguro po hindi din nasusunod sa
Ay
implementation.
nako, sayang. Sana matagal na kitang nakausap para nabakbakan ko yung mga na-appoint na walang karapatan. In any case, Congresswoman,
Thank you, sir.
I'm sure we will be speaking more to each other, with each other regarding these issues and iba pa regarding health kasi talagang battlefield ngayon ng health. But I'd like to thank you for joining us this morning and at least informing us of the great steps that you put in and bagamat medyo kumbaga isinasantabi ng ibang kinaukulan. Thank you for joining us today, Congresswoman Helen.
Sir Cito, thank you so much po for the opportunity. Rest assured po, sorry po doon sa mga indications niyo in the past, but rest assured po na I'll make myself available whenever you invited me. Thank you for the opportunity, sir.
We are much appreciated, ma'am. Okay, that's Congresswoman Angelina Helen Tan. She is also a doctor and siya po ay chairperson of the House Committee on Health. Kailangan ganun eh. Yung bang bibigyan mo ng titulo, ibibigyan mo ng pwesto, may naintindihan doon sa ganung bagay, no? In any case, let's now move to our next guest. But first, let's go for a break. And when we come back from the break, we will feature Senator J.V. Ejercito, ang mamang nag-push talaga ng universal healthcare at ngayon ay siguro palagay ko naluluha na lang siya. We'll go for a break and we'll be right back. Welcome back to the program agenda. I'm your host, Cito Beltran, and we are tackling the PhilHealth issue. Hindi po yung corruption, kung hindi yung the issue of increasing membership dues or the suspension to increase the membership dues as mandated by RA 1122-3, yung pong universal healthcare. Let's go to our next guest, someone who is essentially the father of the universal healthcare law, none other than former Senator J.V. Ejercito. Sen JV, good morning to you, sir.
Hi, Sito. Good morning. Good morning to all your listeners and televiewers.
Okay, I suppose you're updated sa mga nangyayari dito sa PhilHealth, particularly because yung batas mo na ginawa mo along with the members of Congress and Senate provides for an increase of the membership dues around this time of the year because siyempre kailangan ng pondo, pero tinamaan tayo ng COVID-19 pandemic. So ngayon, lahat nagkakandara pa na i-freeze the ball. Ano ang reaction mo to the possibility that the PhilHealth might run out of money?
Well, I was listening earlier, Sito, no, to Congresswoman Helen Tan. She was my counterpart in the House, no, when we passed this universal healthcare law, and I share the same sentiments, no, that it's I really feel sad that during the first year of implementation of this landmark legislation, which really is ambitious, no, talagang all Filipinos will now be covered and will be given assistance. Ngayon naman tumama yung pandemic, no? And first of all, Sito, when we passed this law and when we were drafting this law, nobody foresaw this pandemic coming, no? The whole world, lahat tayo, we were caught by surprise. So, nung pinasa po natin to, nung kami po yung nagde-deliberate at that time, we were considering normal situations at the prevailing circumstances at that time. So kaya po yung lahat yung mga contributions, yung rate increase as the years go by, coupled with the improved services and benefits, lahat po yun we were banking on the present prevailing situation at that time. Kaya lang, Sito, this is a crisis situation, no? We just have to adapt. The government has to make the necessary adjustments. And ako, kahit na ako po ang principal sponsor ng Universal Healthcare Law, I support, no? And I was one of those who called for the suspension of the premiums, no, yung increase in the premium contributions. Kasi naman, Sito, we are, yung economic losses brought about by this pandemic is really vast, no? Unang-una, yung mga employers that we ask for them also to contribute, no, for the premiums, all of them are struggling to survive. Marami ang businesses nag-shut down. So, you cannot expect all of these businesses to contribute what they were contributing before. Pangalawa, itong mga employees natin, both private and government, no, mga employees natin who are PhilHealth members, some of them, Sito, are just working 2-3 times a week. So we cannot expect also them to contribute what they were contributing in the past. Kasi from a 5-day work week, yung iba po 2 times a week lang, 3 times a week, or lang pumapasok. So we just have, and also, Sito, I just want to make it clear, the intention of the universal healthcare law is to improve the quality of lives of our people, no? Kumbaga baka gumaan yung buhay nila, hindi po magpahirap. Kaya nga medyo nalungkot din ako sa PhilHealth. They have to be more sensitive with the situation kasi nga although ginagamit kasi nila Sito yung yung universal healthcare law as justification for their premium increase for the year. Kaya lang for the increases. Kaya wag nilang isang kanan nito kasi nga this is an abnormal situation. We must remember that again, I reiterate, when we passed UHC, the situation was very much different. So we just have to make the necessary adjustments and wag po nila problemahin yung funding. Ang una-una, siguro sabihin nila saan namin kukunin. Hindi lang naman contributions ang ating pong pagkukunan ng pondo ng UHC, no? Marami ho tayong pwedeng pagkunan. If I may enumerate, Sito, if you'll allow me.
Please, go ahead.
una, yung total incremental sin tax contributions, yun pwede ho natin pagkunan yan. Total sin tax collections, dapat lahat maibigay na lang sa UHC para matuloy. And then 50% of the national government share from the income of PAGCOR, nasa batas po yan, 40% of the charity fund of PCSO. Tapos, of course, yung premium contributions of members and the annual appropriations of DOH and national government subsidy to PhilHealth. No? So, hindi lang po dapat natin ipasa, dapat hindi lang natin ipasa sa premium contributions, marami ho tayong pwedeng pagkunan. What PhilHealth and DOH should have done, Cito, now, or should do right now, that the President has already ordered the suspension of the premium contribution, is that to ask Congress for supplemental funding, no, para sabihin nila magkano ba yung nawala nila doon sa expected nilang premium contributions, then ask Congress kasi emergency tayo. From what I gather, ito, maraki ang nilagay na funding ng ating pamahalaan para po rito sa health services, especially now in the time of pandemic. So they should, PhilHealth and DOH should ask Congress for supplemental funding para po doon sa mawawalang supposedly contributions.
Anong reaction mo, Senator JV, doon sa, alam mo yung sitwasyon naman, some members of Congress are not inclined or open to or sympathetic to PhilHealth. Kasi sa kanila, yung binibigay namin sa inyo, ninanakaw o pinananakaw ninyo, tapos manghihingi na naman kayo. What would be your message to your former colleagues in Congress regarding this? Kasi para bang nauuna yung pagtingin natin sa problema, hindi yung solusyonan muna yung problema.
Well, I cannot blame them. Kasi dito pati rin naman yung mga ordinary members. A lot of people believe in the universal healthcare law. Kaya lang, with what you hear in the news, yung mga scandals sa PhilHealth, talagang hindi mo rin masisi tao na nawawala yung tiwala sa PhilHealth. Kailangan talaga, Sito, ako, that goes for the government as a whole, no? Yung talagang, kung merong scandals, corruption, I'm just hoping that there will be those who will really be prosecuted and will really be convicted. Kasi parang, alam mo, Sito, sorry pero parang wala tuloy natatakot na magnakaw sa gobyerno dahil we do not see or hear any big fishes in government that are jailed or convicted. So kinakailangan talaga heads must roll. Kailangan meron ho talaga ma-prosecute. And yung pong mga, alam mo, nakakalungkot dito, no? Pero itong sa PhilHealth kasi, it's not just PhilHealth ang merong responsibilidad doon sa mga scams or scandals. No? It's a collusion between private hospitals, doctors, saka yung patients and PhilHealth. So, lahat po sila ay guilty, no? Para doon sa mga cataract scam, casing. Tapos ngayon, Sito, nakakalungkot. COVID, no? We are in the pandemic. May bagong scam na nagaganap. Kasi alam nila, kapag COVID ka, sagot ka ng PhilHealth. Ngayon, kahit na hindi po COVID, ay ginagawang COVID case para po makakuha ng ng funding sa PhilHealth. No? So, PhilHealth has to improve its yung kanilang verification kasi dito I think ito yung pinaka-problema ng PhilHealth kaya lumalaki yung scams, yung scandals. Sito kasi yung verification method nila, no, yung parang auditing or yung pan-check nila for cases, mukhang yun ang may problema at mahina. So what I would suggest is for PhilHealth to really improve and reform, lalo itong verification process nila. Tulad na lang ng upcasing. For example, yung simple bronchitis, simple cough and cold, ginagawang pneumonia.
Correct.
Kasi from 3,000 na bronchitis, yung pneumonia, 15,000. Ang mas malala pa, Sito, pag hindi pa natuwa, gagawin yung severe pneumonia, which is 30,000. Just imagine, Sito, how many billions are lost through this upscaling and other scams. So, kinakailangan, actually, nilagay po rin namin sa Universal Health Law yung increase in penalties and for fraud. No? Kaya kinakailangan talaga, as the principal sponsor, ako talagang gusto ko meron pong makonvict, meron pong makulong para hindi natularan. So, ang nangyayari kasi Sito, talagang hangga't wala po na ma maididiin dito, talagang walang takot na gumawa ng kalokohan at scandals at scam dito sa PhilHealth.
But Senator JV, ang tanong, bakit nga wala pang nakakasuhan? Kasi I'll be honest with you, no, and you know me personally,
Yes,
I'm
yes,
already
yes.
inclined to think na baka naman kasi hindi totoo, napupolitika na lang. I mean, I know yung mga cataract, yung mga upcasing, may mga incidents. But is it
Yes.
really mass production, mass corruption? Or kung meron, bakit hindi natutuluyan? Kasi parang napapakamot na ako sa ulo. Sabi ko, totoo ba o hindi?
Well, I think that's where the reform should start, no? Sabi nga Sito, hangga't wala talaga na po-prosecute, hangga't walang nadidiin dito, ay wala matatakot talaga eh. I mean, that this one goes for the government as a whole, no? Ang dami naman natin narinig ng mga scams, scandals na nangyari sa Congress, sa executive, pero wala naman talagang big fishes eh. So, sana lang kung meron our government, siguro yung ating mga sandigan prosecutors, no? Dapat kailangan talaga seryosohin at talagang i-push, no?
Okay.
Sayang eh, kasi nilagay din natin sa UAC Sito yung higher fraud penalties. And
Yeah.
for fraud. Kasama rin po yan para nga hindi mangyari. Pero kung wala maitutulak, wala talagang mapoprosecute, wala rin kung mangyayari talaga.
In view of the failure of the judiciary, and I'm calling it that, a failure of the judiciary, kasi Department of Justice yan, mukhang wala pa rin nangyayari after how many administration, are you inclined to agree with Congresswoman Helen Tan and Senator Gatchalian na parang ano na natin, disassemble na lang natin yung PhilHealth and okay, accounting ibigay dito, itong quasi-judicial screening or judgment ibigay dito sa isang grupo. Kumbaga disassemble and gawing mas concentrated yung kanilang mga functions to individual groups.
Well, siguro if in extreme extreme option na kung talagang hindi na natin reform. Pero I was listening to Congresswoman Helen Tan. She also mentioned Sito that it's also stated in the Universal Healthcare Law that the one that should lead PhilHealth is preferably someone who has vast experience in finance and also actuarial experience. Yung may sanay siya sa insurance and the health insurance. Kaya lang yung problema Sito, hindi talaga natutuloy din. Ang na-appoint, madalas nagiging political appointee, no? Ang head ng PhilHealth. And I have nothing against doctors or anybody else, but PhilHealth operations is really fund management. So I have been pushing, I have been recommending ever since Sito that hopefully the government could, the administration for that matter, could already find somebody who has very good financial management experience and also actuarial, no?
Paki-explain
Perfect.
Paki-explain nga yan, Senator JB, no? Kasi ano ba yung nilagay doon sa UHC law? Parang guidelines lang ba yon na dapat ang mga i-appoint sa board ay mga mayroong experience? Or do we really need to pursue and push for a law that requires any political appointment to any technical position or financial position must be with someone who has the title, certificate, and experience, and violation of such would be a criminal act. Kasi parang, hindi, presidente ako, hindi, senador ako, i-appoint ko yan sa customs, etc. Parang kahit sino, kahit driver na-appoint sa customs.
Well, alam mo, Sito, I just have to enumerate first, no? As mandated by the UHC, the President and CEO of PhilHealth should have at least 7 years of experience, no? In the field of public health, management, finance, and health economics. Kaya lang, Sito, talaga it's really a challenge to find that person, no? Kasi alam ko rin, no, noong una nagkaroon ng mga cataracts kami, other scandals in PhilHealth, meron na pong na-scout, no, ang ating pong executive branch, no, galing sa private institution, pero may vast experience financially, meron din siyang experience sa health insurance or actuarial. Kaya lang, nung gumugulong pa lang yung process ng kanyang appointment, Sito, ay nako, pinagsisiraan na. He had a lot of threats personally. Siguro yun yung mga yan yung mga
Yung mafia.
sindikato na mafia dyan sa PhilHealth. So, ang hirap din talaga, no? If I were in the president's shoes, it's really hard also to find that talent. Pero ako naman, Sito, we just have to keep on trying. Ako naman, we are 106 million strong Filipinos. And I don't think that hindi tayo makakakuha ng isang capable. Marami dyan. Kaya lang, yun yung mga challenges kasi meron takot pumasok ng public service kasi nga because of the threats that and other factors that go with it. So, yun lang. I think we should, wag lang siguro tumigil not to scout for that person.
Okay, following that narration and connecting it with what Win Gatchalian said, na sabi niya, PhilHealth is too big to fail. Is it possible that PhilHealth is also too big to rule or too big to manage? Kasi babalikan ko yung point natin na baka dapat naman disassemble at hiwa-hiwalayin na.
Well, actually, I agree with Senator Sherwin. I also agree with your concern, Sito. No? Talagang, especially now, that the coverage of PhilHealth is now, lahat ng 106 million na. Lahat ng Pilipino will now be covered. Talagang it's a very, very tough task. No? So, that may be one of the solutions. Unfortunately, I'm not there, pero I hope that present legislators could study what could be the best formula in how to improve the operation of health. Fortunately, Sito, ang problema ho kasi natin, we cannot allow PhilHealth to fail because unfortunately, we only have one health insurance corporation, no? Yung PhilHealth lang talaga. Unlike in other countries, there are 2 or 3, I think. So talagang pag si PhilHealth mag-fail, ay talagang the whole healthcare system will eventually collapse. Kasi lahat tayo, all Filipinos are now covered by PhilHealth at lahat umaasa. No? Hospitals, professionals, and even isama na rin po natin yung health facilities improvement. No? This lang sakop ng Universal Healthcare Law, ay kapag we cannot let PhilHealth fail talaga. What we can do is reform and improve and probably rehabilitate.
How about modifying the universal healthcare law? Meaning, kanina kasi may nabanggit si Congressman Tan na medyo napaisip ako, I didn't realize it na parang kumbaga primary claims or primary secondary claims sagot ng local government where you are a resident. And then pag medyo seryoso na or above above the pay grade of the LGU, ipapasa na sa PhilHealth or national government.
You know, Sito, that's perfect. No? That's why it's also in our system that after passage of a measure, pag naging batas po ito, after 1 year, you can already amend. So, siguro, right now that it's already a year, we can already propose some amendments to the law kung meron tayong nakikitang mga inconsistencies, intricacies, mga loopholes. So, to make it improve, probably we can already, probably the present legislators could already propose amendments to the law para mas maging perfect, especially yung implementation. Doon natin minsan sito nakikita yung di ba, yung pagkukulang, yung pagkakamali, yung mga loopholes. So hopefully we can improve on this as we go along.
Okay, well, I do hope we can make amendments kasi ako nga pinupush ko yung maging private, maging insurer na rin at HMO ang PhilHealth, yung kay Helen
Yes.
Tan, yung LGU assume certain level of coverage, etc. But at the end of the day, you and your associates crafted a very good bill. Minalas lang tayo sa timing at
Oo
kailangan
nga,
naman ngayon, alagaan lang natin. Thank you very much, Senator JB.
Thank you, Sita. Thank you.
Okay, yan po si Senator JB Ejercito. Siya po yung ang mga batas ni JB, baka makalimutan nyo yung kasambahay law, etong universal healthcare. Okay na sana, minalas lang talaga tayo dyan sa COVID-19 yung 2020. But as the good former senator said, all we need to do is wait for the passing of 2 years and then we can make amendments to the law. So hopefully, may mangyari. But hindi pa po tapos ang usapang PhilHealth, pagsalitain naman natin yung mga tiga PhilHealth. Kasi there is nothing wrong with the concept of the universal healthcare and PhilHealth as it was imagined or initiated. Pero ano na ngayon ang ginagawa at magagawa ng PhilHealth? We'll be right back with their spokesperson, Mr. Baleña, here on Agenda after a few-minute break. Okay, you're back here on the program agenda. I'm your host, Cito Beltran. At this point of the program, let's bring in the spokesperson for the Philippine Health Insurance Corporation, PhilHealth, Mr. Rey Baleña. Sabi ko Baleña. I'm so sorry, Ray. Nakakahiya, man. Force of habit kasi. In any case, good morning, Ray. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, Sir Cito, at good morning po sa inyong mga tagapakinig. Happy
Okay,
New Year po. Happy
May
New
mga,
Year.
may mga tao ba dyan sa paligid mo at naka-face mask ka, iyo?
Hindi ko, sir, mahubad sapagkat ako'y nasa tanggapan, nasa office.
Baka
Standard,
ma-fine. Baka
opo, baka
ma-fine ka.
ma-report ako sa HRD.
Okay. Well, in any case,
Pasensya na po.
okay, that being the case, kasi siyempre gusto rin natin nakikilala ng mga viewers ang ating mga audience. In any case, Ray, kamusta na sa PhilHealth? Because siguro napanood mo or napakinggan mo yung mga discussion and okay, na-resolve yung issue, yung tungkol sa pagtataas ng premium contributions ng miyembro. Medyo na-resolve ba? Okay, praise the ball. Pero the problem now is, can PhilHealth carry on given that there are many companies that shut down, many employees have no jobs, so the normal contributions going into PhilHealth have seriously been decreased, and then the demands on PhilHealth have increased because of COVID in terms of cost and price. Paano na? Meron din ba kayong hinahanap na potential financial crisis?
Well, alam niyo po, Sir Cito, talagang hindi po maikakaila na maapektuhan po ang ating pong programa. Bunga na rin po nitong pandemya, marami ang nawalan ng trabaho, so marami rin ang hindi nakakapagbayad. So for this premium adjustment sana, Sir Cito, we should be able to generate some 13 billion more, no, from our 76.8 billion na collection, targeted collection for 2020. Pero malakas naman, we're very hopeful, Sir Cito, sapagkat mula sa Pangulo hanggang sa Kongreso ay nag-commit naman po na sila ang gagawa ng paraan para humanap ng kapupunan dito po sa ma-generate sana ng ating premium adjustment for this year.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now as far as that is concerned, ano pa bang mga kasi bagong leadership na diyan sa PhilHealth, ano bang mga pagbabago ang nagawa ninyo diyan to address yung mga past issues? Kasi alam mo, medyo suspicioso pa rin yung mga congressman at congresswomen at nag-aalanganing bigyan kayo. Pati sabi pa ni Senator JB, kung kakapusin kayo, di humingi kayo ng supplemental budget.
Yes. Opo, tama po si Senator JB doon na sindalo at laging maaaring i-invoke yung provision na yan ng batas na maaaring manghingi ang Department of Health at ang PhilHealth ng augmentation. Sa ngayon po, we are under a new leadership, as you know po, Sir Cito. We are under President and CEO Attorney Giran na magmula nung pagkaupo niya po nitong Setyembre ay nagbigay na po ng order sa ating mga regional offices to profile each and every healthcare provider in their area, from the institutions, hospitals, down to the professionals. And he'd like to see any patterns na kailangang makita at mapag-aralan so that we can launch investigation on these providers. Now, as you know din po, he implemented a board resolution directing all senior officers of PhilHealth to tender their courtesy resignation. And a total of 43 officers responded to his call for courtesy resignation.
Okay.
And,
Ray, pasensya ka na, Ray, no? May tatanong lang ako, medyo makating tanong, ano? What about the members of the board? Diba si Mr. Giran is chairman of the board or president, and the secretary is chairman of the board, right? What about the other board members? yung mga political appointee. Kasi kanina, doon sa napag-usapan namin ni Congresswoman Helen Tan, there is a provision in the Universal Healthcare Law that political appointees must at least have some measure of expertise, certification, or technical know-how regarding their appointments. Dyan yata sa board ninyo, may mga political appointees ba dyan na former politicians or whatever na walang alam sa public or healthcare?
Well, under the UHC law, 13 na po ang composition ng ating board, and of course most of them are ex officio members, no? They are cabinet secretaries, starting with our chairman of the board, who is
Okay.
Secretary of Health. Yan ay nasa batas po, so yan po ay hindi mababago. But the law said that provided for 3 slots, no? For a technical panel, no? So technical expert po, expert panel ang tawag po sa kanila, na manggagaling po talaga, no, sa sila may expertise sa area of finance, no, actuary, management, ano po. So ito po yung nasunod naman, no. So yan ang composition ng ating board ngayon. Of course, nandyan din po yung the usual na mga representante ng mga important sectors, no, like employers and labor.
Okay, so masasabi ninyo na wala ng politika, as in, alam mo, political appointment just for the sake of putting a friend or someone they know or a supporter in position. Kasi isang issue yan sa mga ibang ahensya na kung sino-sino na pwesto, wala namang alam o hindi naintindihan yung negosyo.
Well, the process is political, pero yung paglalagay po, syempre,
Yung mga nakalagay.
pero po yung ilalagay, syempre, ay bound, no? They were there because of their qualifications.
So Mr. Giran is looking into ensuring that that is observed. Kasi yun nga yung point natin di ba? Dun sa mga past administrations, yung mga tinanggal, mga pinag-resign, yun yung mga sa kanila accusations na wala namang experience o wala namang alam na pwesto. So can it be said that at the moment, the board of the PhilHealth and the senior officers are all technically trained or are experts in the field?
Sir Cito, I can very well say so.
Okay, that's good to know. Okay, now let's move forward, Ray, regarding yung sa services ng PhilHealth. So pinaimbestiga na ni Mr. Giran yung mga iba-ibang mga service providers, etc. Kanina sabi ni Senator JB, ang sama ng loob niya or hinanakit niya, wala pang nakakasuhan, wala pa talagang nadidiin o nasesentensyahan. We know that, the judicial process takes time, pero parang walang publicity or walang public announcements sa mga kinasuhan ninyo.
Well, sapat na po yung mga naging pronouncements ng halimbawa ni Secretary Guevara of Department of Justice when the DOJ task force filed the cases against some of our colleagues, some of our senior officers, former officials, and these are administrative and criminal cases. So yan namang bagay po yan ay naisampa na sa korte. So ipinababahala po natin sa korte na malaman po ang katotohanan.
Ray, what about doctors and hospitals? Lalo na yung mga medical services, yung mga dialysis, mga etc. etc.
Well, I'd like to inform you, Sir Cito, na halimbawa dito sa mga cases resolved in our arbitration office, they registered a 98.94% success rate, and they have acted upon a total of 2,157 cases, at 23 cases lamang po yung na-dismiss. So ito po ay mga cases consisting of 1,196 cases against healthcare institutions and close to 1,000 cases for healthcare professionals, and they have been
Sorry, Ray. What are the violations? Iba yung mga upcasing, mga overcharging, ano ba yan? Para at least malaman naman ng mga nanonood yung mga nahuli ninyo at bakit nyo nahuli.
Yes, tama po kayo, Sir Cito. Misrepresentation, ano po, falsification, meron pong mga non-existent na patients, no? And yes, cases of upcasing. And
Ah,
and these cases and these providers have been meted with either fines, a combination of suspension and fines, and fines with revocation, no? So
mhm.
gumulong po yung mga investigasyon at nakasuhan at na-penalize po itong mga providers natin.
Wala ba tayong provision? Kasi alam mo, yung Philippine Medical Association, natatandaan ko noon, meron lang na iskandalo, tinanggalan ng lisensya. Meron lang nag-complain sa doktor, tinanggalan ng lisensya. Kayo ba sa PhilHealth, nakakailan na ba kayong doktor o hospital na pinasara o pinatanggalan ng lisensya?
Well, I don't have the figures right now, Sir Cito, but definitely meron po kayong mga na-revoke ang kanilang accreditation, na-suspend ang accreditation.
Mhm. Pero ang problema kasi
At
yata, Ray, dyan sa accreditation na suspension, eh parang palitaw, isususpend nyo o re-revoke nyo, tapos biglang magtatayo na naman ng bagong korporasyon, magpapa-accredit na naman. What safeguards do you have to make sure that these guys or these people don't get a second chance to cheat the public and the taxpayer and the PhilHealth?
well, we recognize that practice at yan ay na-establish na rin po natin.
Mhm.
I have seen in some of our discussions with legal and management na nagiging mahigpit po tayo, no, doon sa mga submissions at nagiging mahigpit tayo, talagang bina-background check at iniisa-isa po yung composition ng kanilang mga incorporators. So kapag merong mga similar names, no, mga similar names, no, coming from previously revoked from facilities that were previously revoked with accreditation, then that's it, no? Flag na po 'yon. It's a red
Oh,
flag in our accreditation.
okay, anong area mas mataas ang incidence, Ray? Is it still the NCR or mas marami bang kalokohan na nangyayari outside of the NCR?
Well, I cannot tell at the moment po, no, wala po akong hawak na, unfortunately hindi ko po hawak yung data.
Mhm.
Pero siyempre po ay kahit saan, no, meron 'yan. Unfortunately ay meron po, no, kahit saan.
Okay, so what are the plans of the PhilHealth now? Take advantage of you have 3 minutes. What are the plans of PhilHealth now, Ray? Kasi siyempre medyo nagbabangong puri ang PhilHealth pagkatapos biglang natamaan na naman itong legislated mandate na magtaas ng ng contributions. Kumbaga, parang nagpapalamig na nga kayo na nasindihan pa kayo.
Well, Sir Cito, alam niyo po sa patungkol sa issue ng premium adjustment, tayo na may tagapagpatupad lamang po ng batas. So
Mm.
kung ano naman ang sasabihin ng Kongreso patungkol sa bagay na yan, then of course, yun lang din naman ang ipapatupad ng PhilHealth. Now,
Mm.
the new management of PhilHealth, no, Sir Cito, is not
Yeah.
oblivious of the alleged misdeeds of officers in the past. And now, through the leadership of our new PCEO, we are closely, no, mas aggressive yung collaboration with the NBI and other investigating authorities, no, na doon sa mga issues na lumutang during the mga congressional hearings sa nakaraang taon.
Mm.
So the current leadership is providing that kind of leadership that discourages dishonesty,
Mhm.
hindi lang sa hanay ng mga
Okay.
opisyal at mga empleyado, kundi sa hanay mismo ng mga partner naming providers where
Mhm.
fraud usually emanates, ano.
Yeah, Ray,
So,
paano naman yung mga former colleagues nyo dyan sa PhilHealth? Because I've worked with some of your former colleagues and I know that there are many in PhilHealth na wala namang kasalanan, kumbaga nadamay na lang, napagbintangan o kumbaga na-package deal. Kumbaga uminit ang ulo ng isang mama sa Malacanang o lahat kayo alis. Paano naman yung mga inosente? Will the PhilHealth eventually or will it be the DOJ who will be tasked to exonerate those who are innocent? Kasi Siyempre, fair is fair. Pakulong natin lahat ng mga walang ya, yung mga tarang-ogag, sabi nga nila. Pero yung mga inosente naman na nagtrabaho lang, will they be publicly exonerated? Mag-a-announce ba kayo kung sino yung this is to clarify na these people have been cleared?
Well, for example, during the first wave of preventive suspension issued by the Ombudsman in August of 2020, we have clarified na yung mga preventive suspension na ito, Sir Cito, is not related naman doon sa mga alleged corruption issues being investigated that time in the Senate and Congress. So, siyempre, doon naman sa talagang sabi nyo nga ay tinamaan na agad, mabilis ang mga decisions. Kami umaasa na sa korte naman, the truth will be ferreted out and they will be exonerated. At yung may kasalanan, Sir Cito, kahit kami, ay dapat naman talaga mananagot po dito.
Paano yan? Yung kanilang legal burden, legal expense, as former or at the time officials of PhilHealth, yan ba sasagutin magpo-provide ba ang PhilHealth ng legal assistance?
Well, I personally know, sir, that we have an insurance, with the GSIS on this matter that we can make use of dito sa mga should an officer of the agency is filed with cases. So meron naman po kaming insurance na natatakbuhan po patungkol
Sige.
dito. Yes.
Abangan ko na lang yan, Ray, kasi siyempre ayoko naman masabi ng ibang tao na kami, inosente kami, nadamay lang kami, pagkatapos nakakalimutan na kami. But please let us know if on further developments in PhilHealth, and thank you for your time. I hope that by the grace of God, maresolba na lahat yung mga problema na yan dyan. Thank you very much, Ray.
Sir Cito, maraming salamat and let's continue praying na ang ating universal healthcare ay lalong tumatag. Mas kailangan po natin ito lalo ngayong panahon ng pandemya. Mabuhay po kayo, Sir Cito.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Rey Baleña, official spokesperson of the Philippine Health Insurance Corporation, otherwise known as PhilHealth. Ayan po, tapos na po yung ating araw. Boundary na po uli ang agenda. Thank you for joining us, and I sincerely hope that PhilHealth gets the house in order. And for all of you out there, I hope that you have a great day, what's remaining of it, a great evening, and may I just leave you this word from Psalms 127, if I'm not mistaken. Unless the Lord builds the house, the laborers work in vain. Okay? Ika nga, kung may gagawin man tayong pagtatayo, pagtataguyod, pag-aayos ng bahay, wag nating kalimutan na manalangin, always pray, call in the Lord to help us. And I hope that the Lord rebuilds your house in 2021, whoever you are, wherever you are. Thank you. I'm Cito Beltran.